Hello and welcome to all of my favorite books. First, before we even begin, what is a favorite book to me personally? For me to consider a book to be a favorite, it has to be a 5-star and a book that I would be willing to reread and probably get the same enjoyment out of it, and that it's a book that I fully remember every my voice is going. I fully remember every moment of the book, if that makes sense. I have around 20 books slash series, because a series I'm counting as one. 20. There are 20. That's what I was trying to say. So let's just get into it. I'm gonna divide it because I have fantasy favorites and I have romance contemporary favorites. I think I'm gonna start with fantasy, which top shelf, and this, because fun fact, these are all the books that I have read, that I own. Let's go. So the first book on this list and my bookshelves is Nevernight. And I'm only considering the first book because the second one I don't really remember, even though I gave it a 5-star, and the third one was a disappointment, and we're not going to talk about her. We follow a main character called Mia. Mia wants to be an assassin, so to do that there's this school, it's called the Red Church, where they teach people how to become skilled assassins and whatever. So she embarks on the journey to first find the school, because there's like a trial moment, which I love, and there she learns all the skills of being an assassin, from poison to sword fighting, stuff like that. I really love books that are funny. This book made me laugh a lot. If you watched my recent video, green means funny, and as you can maybe tell, I have a lot of green post-its. You know those books that you read the first sentence and you know it's gonna be amazing? This is one of them. I'm gonna read it for you. I've underlined it and put a green tab. Fun fact. People often shit themselves when they die. Like, come on. This is just... the characters are great, the plot is great, the writing is great, everything is great about this, in my personal opinion. The next one on my list is a series, a whole series. I have not read this recently, so it's kind of unsure. But from what I remember, this was amazing. I loved this. This was kind of at the time when I got back into reading, and this made me fall in love. So this is more of a nostalgic pick for favorites, but I think will always remain a favorite, and it's the Infernal Devices by Cassandra Clare. My friend back in high school, a long time ago, she introduced me to BookTube, fun fact, shout out to her, and she made me read these and I loved them. She also made me read a lot of stuff that I love still to this day. Anyways, these are really great. I don't think I have to talk about them because they're so well known. It's Cassandra Clare. Do we need to talk about it? Whatever. I was in love with this. I was obsessed. I used to have fan art everywhere in my life. I really want to reread them, which is another point of my like 5-star thing, favorite thing. I really want to reread them soon. I want to be back in this vibe. I used to be obsessed with Will Herondale. I think most of us were. These were so good, from what I remember. The next series is also a really well-known one, but it deserves the hype, and it's the Six of Crows duology by Leigh Bardugo. I did not like other books by Leigh Bardugo except for her adult, new adult, whatever, Ninth House. These just hit different. I laughed, I cried. I love every single character in this series. Do I want to watch the show? No, because it's gonna ruin everything. Hence why I'm not gonna watch it. This literally is so good. If you have not read this, read it. I remember vividly reading these, which is another thing for me with favorites. Like, I remember exactly where I was, when, what I was doing, where I was sat. It's a little bit weird in my opinion. I don't know if that's normal. The next book on my list is Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. I am scared to read book 2 because everyone hated it, so I'm not going to, even though there's a sticker. If you've never heard of this, you might have because it's very popular. I'm gonna say this a lot. It is about a boy called Wade who lives in this futuristic sci-fi world. And in this world, everything is in virtual reality. School, work, whatever. And the person who created the online world, which is called Oasis, has died. Lovely. When he died, he left a message for the whole world, which was that he left a bunch of clues and Easter eggs in the game, and the purpose of those Easter eggs and clues are to find something in the game that would make the person who finds it own Oasis. And obviously Wade is the first one to find the first clue, which is lovely. I really enjoyed this. I know I'm a hater number 1 for references in books, and this is the exception. This makes sense. That's why I'm not bothered. The point of this book is Easter eggs, and I'm a Disney adult, low-key. I'm that annoying person watching a movie that points out Easter eggs. That's me. I know all the Easter eggs, all the secret Mickey Mouses, all of that has to do with Disney. So I love the idea of Easter eggs, and this was that vibe. And also this whole book is like a game aspect, which is one of my favorite tropes or like things in books. The next series on my list are the 3 books in the Theilluminae Files by J. Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. These books are just iconic, for me at least. I have an obsession with books that are weird inside. So like this, books that are written in interview form, in like, I think it's called verse? I don't know English. Anything that is not normal books, that is written some type of weird way, the weirder the better in my opinion. I will enjoy, at least have some enjoyment. I might not like the story, but I will have fun reading it, if that makes sense. I really loved the plot, the characters, the format, number 1 reason. The next book is really obvious because there's a humongous space and that book might fall. Or let's hope it doesn't. But it is Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson, and this is just chef's kiss beautiful. This follows Elizabeth. I don't know why I said it that way. And she has been raised and brought up in this humongous library. This isn't a normal library because this is fantasy. And the books, they're called grimoires, and they're kind of alive. One of the grimoires escapes because the worst ones are like chained up and stuff. It escapes and it starts wreaking havoc and like escaping from the library. And Elizabeth tries really hard to like stop it, and I think she does. I don't really remember that part, but because of her trying to save everyone from the grimoire, she gets implicated and blamed for the grimoire escaping. So she is taken to the capital, I think, by a Nathaniel and his servant, which Silas is the best character. And there they discover that there's actually a conspiracy going on, blah blah blah. This might be top 5 out of all these, but I'm not really sure. I'm very indecisive. I love every single character equally. Maybe Silas a little bit more. The plot is great. The magic in this, so fun. I love it. I don't even know how to explain my love for this. I don't know why I made this video when I can't even speak about books, but whatever. This is just amazing, and I'm so excited for the sequel slash half sequel moment, novella, whatever it's called, companion. I don't know. Next is another nostalgic series that I still consider one of my favorites, and it is Hunger Games. I read this when I was maybe 13, 12, I don't remember. This literally was the beginning of all this behind me. I remember reading this with my friends, all of us crying, sobbing, being obsessed with the movies, going to the like premiere of the movies. But this is just amazing. I really want to, again, repeat times, I don't even know, reread these because it's been 10 years. I still call the actor Sam something Finnick my whole life. He's not anything but Finnick. I've watched a million movies with him. He's still Finnick. I don't care. The next series might not be obvious because I only took one book because I cannot be bothered to pick them all up. And it is the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J Maas. This just has everything I really enjoy in books. It has plot twists that I never could have seen coming. It is funny. The main character is a badass, actually, not a wannabe one. All the couples, because they follow these books, if you've never read them, they follow a million different couples. I loved all of them. I love them all. The magic is amazing. The smut is there. Even though some people really hate the smut, I don't mind it. The next series is also an oldie but a goodie, which is the Lunar Chronicles. I read them maybe when I was 14, 15, something like that. Again, recommended to me by the friend that introduced me to BookTube. This has a lot of the things that I love in books. It's retellings of fairy tales. It is, if you don't know, Cinderella, Little Red Riding Hood, I almost said Tangled, Rapunzel, and I think Snow White. Next is another book that I read and was initially a standalone and now has a sequel that I have to read. And it is this big boy, The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. To be honest, there's a lot of this that I do not remember, but I just loved this at the time, and I still do, and I want to reread it even though it is massive. This was so good. I had a great time reading this. I love the characters. I love the different plots and characters and their own POVs and then the mixing together. There's dragons, there's a lesbian relationship, there's so much going on, but it's a great time. And I'm excited for the prequel. So yeah, let's move on to romance/contemporary. So the first book is a graphic novel, and it is The Prince and the Dressmaker by Jen Wang. I've read this twice already. It's just wholesome. It is a fun time. Your heart gets warmed. I love this deep in my soul, obviously. It's just really cute, and I just really love it. The next one is also a graphic novel. I just realized I had some graphic novels, but it's okay. And it is Heartstopper, the whole series, obviously. I'm just holding up one, by Alice Oseman. This is just really cute. There's also a show. Obviously, I have not watched that because I don't think the characters look like they should, and I'm a bit extra. There's a lot of like conversations about sexuality and eating disorders as well and stuff like that. It's not just fluff, but it is really cute and I really love them. I've cried with multiple volumes, so I just love them. And the last graphic novel slash manga, which is what this is that I'm going to mention, are the 2 volumes in My Brother's Husband by Gengoro Tagami. It's just really cute and I really loved reading it. Yeah. Let's actually move on to romance books. The first one is The Upside of Unrequited by Becky Albertalli. This one is my favorite of all the Becky Albertalli books I've read. It just is more relatable to me. If you've never read this, it's great. It's about a girl called Molly who's had a bunch of crushes, but none of them have ever liked her back. It follows just her accepting herself and like falling in love for the first time, actually requited and stuff like that. It was just a great time. I would reread this, but I don't feel like I need to soon because I still remember it. Next is a series of romance books that some people might be like, what the hell? But this is genuinely one of my favorite series, romantic book-wise. And it is all the books in the Geekerella series. I'm only holding up the first one because I can't be bothered to get the other 2. I wish there were more, honestly. Ashley Poston, give me more because this was just so good. I read all of these separately. The year, I think, when they came out, except for this one. I read all of these in one sitting, in one day, because it's really fast-paced. It is a short book, and it's just so fun. Love it. It's like It's not a deep book. It's just really fun, enjoyable, a cute romance. I just really love these books. The next book is another really popular book on here and everywhere, and it is The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. I reread it, kind of. I skimmed it. Actually, here's a story. My friend and I were debating about the movie that came out because I hated the cast. Like, Lucy Hale was fine, but the guy, no. We were talking about the book and like the description of the characters to see if they were accurate, and I had to go back, obviously, because I'm extra. And I just ended up reading the whole thing. But yeah, I've read this one time technically. One of my like top book boyfriends is Josh. He's just like ideal. The next book is another one that I read a long time ago. And it is Eliza and the Monsters by Francesca Zappia. I love this. This also kind of, not really, kind of has the weird formatting thing. There's a bunch of like text message interactions slash comments or what it is, and comics that she draws and writes. Eliza was really relatable because in real life she's shy and stuff, and I used to be really, really shy. It's just cute, and I really loved it when I read it. Next is a book kind of the same vibe as The Hating Game, and it is Beach Read by Emily Henry. This was also like, this is what I need in a book in my life. What else do you need in a romance book? This next one is my favorite book probably ever when it comes to romance books, even though it's probably not, but it will always be like #1. And it is Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson. When I went to New York on holidays, I went to Barnes and Noble, and my parents let me buy one book, and I bought this. And I literally read it immediately, loved this, and then I've reread it for a readathon, and I loved it again. This actually made me realize that I love when there's a list of things that a character wants to do. This was the book that made me realize I love that. Morgan Matson is one of my favorite authors. Also because honorable mention is this one. It is a favorite book, but it's not in like my top favorite books ever. I did sob uncontrollably with this, so like, let's consider them a series, and then both of these. And last but not least is Perfect on Paper by Sophie Gonzalez. Kind of random to end on this note, but it's fine. This is about a school where there's a locker 89, I think. Yes. Where you can leave anonymous questions and they will get back to you answered. And it is about relationships, obviously, because high school. And so our main character, Darcy, is actually behind it. But then a new guy called Alexander discovers that she's the one behind it, so they make a deal. If he does not tell everyone that she is the one behind the locker advice thing, then she will help him get back with his ex-girlfriend. And just, yes. So those are all of my favorite books so far in my life that I will always love and enjoy and want to reread. Also, these are my personal opinions, so if you hate these, I'm so sorry for you. But I loved them. But that is everything for today, and I'll see you in my next weird video. Bye!